It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Oh, and here we go. It is Monday, unmistakably Monday. You can't miss it, the start of another work week. Although, yes, I know a lot of people work Saturdays and Sundays, but let's just say it's the start of another work week, shall we? Oh, before I do anything else, congratulations going out to the Alfred Almond Lady Eagles. They did make it all the way to the semifinals, and they did an excellent job. It was a great season. And we carried the game, what was that, on Saturday or Sunday?
Yes, they made it to the semifinals and then the state finals.
Right.
And did a great job. And, yeah, we had both games on here at WLEA.
Great. Absolutely wonderful. It was a really good season. Maybe next year, who knows? Hey, you never know. Well, let me see. A little, it's a beautiful October morning, isn't it? Oh, wait, hold it. It isn't October. It's June. That's right. I forgot. Oh, wow. Well, really, a day is what you make it. And if the weather isn't cooperating, it isn't quite what you want, it doesn't make any difference. It's your day, and you can have a good day if you want to, right? Okay? It's all in your head. Anyway, this is a way, there is a way you can brighten this unseasonable fall-like weather because it's time for the annual Strawberry Festival hosted by the Almond Historical Society. And that'll be on the grounds of the Hagedorn House, right by the traffic light there in Almond, in greater, beautiful downtown metropolitan Almond, that bustling hub of industry and commerce. And let me see, they put up the big blue and white canopy on Saturday, so that's set. So it's a go, rain or shine. And also, let me see it starts at 5 o'clock this afternoon. There's plenty of parking. There's a big church parking lot right next door. And let me see, I did a little reading up on strawberries. Do you know that a strawberry, maybe you do, because I didn't, but a strawberry is technically not a berry. Okay, it's not a berry. It is, in fact, an aggregate fruit. Except to call it a straw aggregate fruit would be a little complicated, so we say strawberry. Anyway, a strawberry isn't really a berry, but a watermelon is. So, a watermelon is a berry. And where did I get this? I found this somewhere. I'm not quite sure. Oh, Reader's Digest. Okay, hey, I will go anywhere for a story. Raspberries, strawberries, and blackberries aren't really berries. The scientific definition of a berry is a plant that has 3 distinct layers: an outer skin called the exocarp, a fleshy middle part called the mesocarp, and here is the key: internally contained seeds, which is the endocarp. Are you taking notes? Okay, so it has internally contained seeds. But because the seeds are on the outside of what we call these berries, raspberry, strawberry, and blackberry, they're not really berries. However, as I said, watermelon is, so are grapes, and bananas, yep. How about eggplants? An eggplant, technically, is a berry. So I don't know, it gets a little complicated. I don't know why I sort of look up strawberries. But anyway, so a strawberry is really an aggregate fruit. So if you want to have a nice time this afternoon, it starts at 5 o'clock, the annual Straw Aggregate Fruit Festival in Almond on the grounds of the Hagedorn House. And also this evening, I looked this up too, it is the Midsummer Strawberry Moon. It's a full moon. It's called the Strawberry Moon. How do you like that? Okay, good timing. All right, let's see what's going on Albany. Boy, are they going to have a pretty busy couple of days or several days in Albany, because the legislative session ends on Wednesday. And there are a bunch of things on the agenda, a very busy agenda. Matter of fact, I have 2 stories here. I'll see if I can dovetail both of these. Well, the first is from, the Albany Times-Union. David Lombardo is the author. And let me see. He says, in preparation for the 3 remaining days of work at the Capitol, the weekend was busy with negotiations, vote wrangling, and last-minute tweaks for the unfinished agenda, which includes marijuana legalization, reducing greenhouse gas emissions, stricter sexual harassment standards, making driver's licenses available to undocumented immigrants, and expanding limousine safety measures. And those are only a few, a very few. Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins said on Friday that there would be a very good end to a wonderful session. As a matter of fact, lawmakers have approved about 400 bills. 400 bills have been given final passage by both houses this session and have either been sent to Governor Cuomo for a signature or they will be later this year. So they have had a busy session. We concentrate on only a couple of measures, right? Because those are the ones that are really, really, high profile. But they have been awfully busy. Let me see. Senator Neil Breslin, he's a Democrat from somewhere in Albany County. He said it's possible that some of the outstanding issues could be pushed through in a wide-reaching omnibus bill. It's a common end-of-the-session tactic, commonly known as a big ugly. That's a big ugly, eh? That often makes compromises more palatable as multiple measures are lumped into one vote. So that could be kind of interesting. If all these measures are in one vote, how would you separate? Let's say you want to vote yes on one measure but no on another. So I don't know how that works. And Breslin said there will be some ugly. It may not be as big as a big ugly. Well, that's pretty encouraging. Let me see what else. Let me see. On the positive side, there is also agreement between the legislature and the governor on expanding the statute of limitations on rape cases. That's pretty important. And toughening the legal definition of sexual harassment in the workplace. On Saturday, the Assembly and Senate agreed to the details on legislation that would end the gay panic defense, according to a legislative source. If enacted, the discovery of a victim's gender or sexual orientation could no longer be used as a defense for murder. I didn't know it could be, but apparently, until now, it could be. That's bizarre. A defense for murder. Wow. Anyway, so they want to do away with that. I think that's a really good idea. Lawmakers are unlikely to take up any plans to curtail the recently enacted change to the state's bail laws, which were overhauled during the budget process as part of a sweeping reform to the criminal justice system. And they included requirements to speed up trials and hasten the pre-trial discovery process. District attorneys have criticized the measures, claiming the lawmakers approved the changes without careful consideration, and that in some instances the new requirements may endanger the public, impede investigations, and expose witnesses to retribution. Okay. Also, advocates who championed the Child Victims Act, which became law in January after numerous failed attempts, got a positive sign Sunday, and their push to require schools to teach good touch, bad touch, that's in quotes, good touch, bad touch awareness to children. The measure which already passed the Senate was put on the agenda for sometime this afternoon in the Assembly, where it's been held up all year. And let me see, the Assembly is scheduled to return to work at noon, which is just a couple of hours from now. And the Senate is supposed to be in session, it says, supposed to be in session at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And Democrat lawmakers in both houses will meet privately beforehand to discuss the progress made during the weekend. Democrat lawmakers in both houses. Democrat lawmakers. But that's the way politics works. If you're in the majority, you're in the majority, right? Okay? And the majority rules. So in Albany, both houses being in the hands of Democrats, they pretty much run the place. Which is, hey, it could have been Republicans, hey, except right now it's Democrats. So if you're in the minority, you can, dislike a bill all you want. But if it passes, it passes. And you really have little to say. What else have we here? Well, as I said, that about the 400 bills have been given final passage. And here's an interesting one. The legislature last week passed a bill requiring that opioid overdose deaths be recorded on death certificates with the specific kind of opioid that a person was using. And this is in quotes. Who said that? The legislative sponsors. By requiring this information on death certificates, more data will be available to better track which opioids are causing the most deaths. Lawmakers also approved legislation in which New York State will honor the suspensions and revocations issued by other states against people who violate fishing, hunting, and trapping laws. 30 states now take part in the compact to honor such actions against the violators. Also, pharmacists will be required to make reasonable attempts to reach patients when drugstores learn of a recall involving a prescription drug. And what else? This is clams, oysters? Let me see. An annual round of bills was passed extending the state's authority to regulate bluefish, clams, oysters, and other fish and seafood that make up Long Island's fishing industry. And let me see. And in the past week, they really have been busy. In the past week or more, dozens of bills have been introduced or amended to try to draw supporters. One bill would ban law enforcement from using aerial drones for monitoring or recording demonstrations. I didn't know they could. I guess they do, I suppose. Let me see. The use of, who said this? Brooklyn Democrat State Senator Jessica Ramos. She says the use of drones will only further intensify the intimidation of the public and erode First Amendment speech. And there's another one. Oh, looks like that bill to legalize prostitution is dead in the water. It's not going anywhere this year. So that takes care of that. And the governor said Friday that the matter will be up for discussion for another day. All right. Also, another bill getting approved bans bumper pads. They are shown to present a risk of death or serious injuries to infants from baby cribs. Now, you think a bumper pad, I don't know, but you think a bumper pad would make it safer. But I guess not. Okay, well, they're going to want to do that. And what else? Other bills getting final approval in the past 2 weeks require hospitals to offer patients plant-based food options for every meal or snack. And doubling to 30 the number of days in a year when senior citizen groups can offer bingo games. Okay. And also expand an existing program for veterans who dropped out of high school to serve in the military after the Vietnam War to be awarded high school diplomas based on knowledge and experience gained while in service. So, all that and more is going on in Albany, even as we speak. Well, they'll be at noon, and the Senate at 1 this afternoon. Okay. Oh, speaking about New York laws, I didn't know this, but there's a lot of things I don't know. It wasn't, up until now, it wasn't illegal to use a flamethrower for recreational purposes in New York. Okay? I don't know how many people use flamethrowers for recreational purposes, but where did I find this? Oh my, some NBC television station somewhere near Albany. Apparently, it wasn't already illegal to use a flamethrower for recreational purposes in New York, and then Elon Musk came along. The New York State Senate passed a bill last week that would make having a flamethrower, except in certain circumstances, a felony. The bill is a direct response to a controversial January 2018 promotion by Musk's tunneling business, The Boring Company, where it sold, get this, 20,000 flamethrowers, 20,000 handheld flamethrowers at $500 apiece in 5 days. So Elon Musk has come out with this cute little flamethrower. It looks to be maybe a foot and a half, maybe 2 feet long, and released. Okay, Elon Musk's Boring Company released a new flamethrower which sold out all 20,000 within days without any concern to the training of the purchasers or their reasons for buying them. Allowing the general public to access this type of machine is extremely problematic. Some commercial flamethrowers can project flames up to 20 feet from the user, the bill's sponsor memo reads. So anyway, how many people go out and just play with flamethrowers for fun. I don't know. Maybe some people do. I don't know. Okay, everybody needs a hobby. So anyway, apparently it's not illegal at this point if you go outside to play with a flamethrower. All right, that's good. That's fine. And what else have we here? Oh, this was kind of interesting because we get a lot of these calls. I think everybody gets these calls. And this is why you should never call back an unknown number. We've all had it happen. It says you look at your phone and notice a missed call from a very familiar-looking number that isn't one of your contacts. Your first instinct might be to call back and see who it was, but that's the last thing you should do. You might assume calling back is safe because a number happens to be from your area code. Maybe your doctor, maybe your kid's principal, a neighbor. Unfortunately, the answer is probably none of these, and that's according to Adam Levin, founder of Cyber Scout and author of Swiped, How to Protect Yourself in a World of Scammers, Phishers, and Identity Thieves. Scammers, he says, are adept at spoofing phone numbers for caller ID purposes. So just because a number shares your area code doesn't mean the caller is from your town or village or your county, Crooks purposely use familiar area codes to gain your trust. And he says, don't miss these other sneaky ways con artists win your trust. You'd probably ignore an 800 number. But let's say it's, here it's a 607 area code, or maybe 585. Apparently these people know how to, oops, I guess we're going to take a break. Apparently they know how to fake their phone numbers. Wow, that's really creepy. Okay, we're going to take a break, and we will be right back.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In golf at the U.S. Open on Fox, Gary Woodland wins his first career major and gets just his fourth PGA Tour win overall, shooting all 4 rounds in the 60s, closing with a 69. That was good enough for a 3-shot win over Brooks Koepka, who is going for the three-peat at the U.S. Open. Tiger Woods finished tied for 21st place, 11 shots off the lead. Soccer at the Women's World Cup, the U.S. improved to 2-0 in the tournament with a 3-0 win over Chile. Carly Lloyd scored twice, helping the U.S. clinch a spot in the round of 16. In baseball games of note, the Yankees down the White Sox 10-3. It was the Rays edging the Angels 6-5. New York remains a half game up on Tampa Bay for the top spot in the AL East. Dodgers down the Cubs 3-2, while the Brewers beat the Giants 5-3. So Milwaukee moves 1 game up on Chicago for the top spot in the NL Central. And the Braves dominate the Phillies 15-1. Atlanta's won 9 of its last 10 games and has opened up a 2.5 game lead on Philadelphia for the top spot in the NL East.
New to golf or seasoned veteran, you'll enjoy the casual, relaxed atmosphere of Vanderview Golf Course. 2 miles from downtown Alfred on Waterwells Road, Vanderview is a 9-hole executive-length golf course with a driving range on one side of the road and the course on the other. Family-friendly and fun recreation for everyone. Greens fees are one price for unlimited play, $9.50. High school students, only $5. Children 12 and under with an adult, no charge. You can play up to 18 holes or 9 holes with a cart and get the second 9 holes at no additional charge. Ladies and senior golfers who don't hit the long ball, Vanderview's got the executive length that's just right for your game. And new this year, a season pass for only $100. That's a lot of golfing fun for a very little bit of money. Vanderview Golf Course, 2 miles from downtown Alfred on Waterwells Road. Vanderview Golf Course.
From the Fox Business Network, Target says its cash registers are back to normal after 2 separate issues over the weekend. Sunday's problem is blamed on an NCR data center issue, which prevented credit and debit card transactions for an hour and a half. On Saturday, shoppers at Target were not able to check out for 2 hours. It blames an internal technology issue, which they say employees identified and fixed. The FAA could start trials of Boeing's 737 MAX fix as early as this week. Boeing's chief executive admits the company made a mistake in how it handled a cockpit warning system. CEO Dennis Muhlenberg says the company's communication with regulators, customers, and the public was not consistent, and that is unacceptable. The Dow was down 17 on Friday. The Nasdaq dropped 40. The S&P lost 4. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
Prescription products require an online physician consultation and are only available if the physician determines a prescription is appropriate. See website for full details.
Hey guys, good news. The expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And now get your first month's supply for just $5 at 4hims.com/Chris. Hims connects you with real doctors online who can prescribe the medication, and a pharmacy sends it right to your door. So easy. To get your first order for just $5, you need to go to 4hims.com/Chris. That's 4hims.com/Chris.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Ford, receive up to $2,500 in Ford trade assistance with your 99 or newer vehicle trade. Now purchase a new 2019 Ford Escape SE 4x4 equipped with heated power seat, 8-inch touchscreen display, and alloy wheels with Ford trade assistance buy for only $21,999. Shop the Simmons Rockwell Ford dealership near you. Simmons-Rockwell.com.
And we are back. Now, you really wouldn't think of the fish as being a lovelorn fish, right? Okay. But now this is according to some website called AFP. I believe it's in France. Yes. The tiny Central American convict cichlid, that's the name of the fish, or the species of fish, a convict cichlid, may only be a few centimeters long, but it's a fish with a big heart. Okay, researchers in France found that the tropical fish known to be a loyal and monogamous partner suffers from heartache when separated from his lover. Okay, even more heartrending is that female cichlids, when paired with a male who was not their preferred partner, were shown in experiments to exhibit pessimistic behavior. Now, how in the world would you figure out if a fish is pessimistic or optimistic? I don't know, but apparently they know how to do this. Scientists think that over the course of evolution, fish species, such as the convict cichlid, have developed loyal partnerships as a way to better protect their young, which are extremely vulnerable to predators. To effectively measure each fish's mental response to separation, I'm not making this up, by the way. To effectively measure each fish's mental response to separation, researchers from the University of Burgundy in Dijon trained females to use their mouths to open two small boxes placed on either side of their tank. The positive box contained fish food, and the negative box was empty. Okay, or maybe had junk mail in it or something. I don't know. So the boxes had either black or white lids to help the fish distinguish between the two. And the team then placed a gray ambiguous box in the center of the tank to see how the females would react. They reasoned that a fish with an optimistic outlook would flip open the gray lid in the hope of snaffling a treat, whereas a pessimistic fish might hesitate or leave the box alone. Their study, published in the journal Proceedings of Royal Society, which apparently would publish anything, showed that female fish spend much more time trying to lift off the gray lids when their favored males were in the tanks with them. So it says here, while the tale of the cichlid's lovelorn travails may warm the heart, the fish are anything but lovely. They have sharp teeth and have been known to be extremely territorial. So you have a pessimistic, lovelorn, extremely territorial fish with sharp teeth. So I don't know about you, but I think I'd probably just stay away from a convict cichlid. I mean, as cute and adorable as they are. Although it is a cute little fish. I mean, there's a picture of it here. I don't know. It's really small. But anyway, they have really sharp teeth, and they get really gloomy and pessimistic. So there you are. Now, let me see. Do I have time for one? Okay, this is from Phoenix, Arizona. An 81-year-old man robbed a bank. Okay, he robbed a bank, and he said that he couldn't make it on his Social Security payment, which was $800 a month. Now, this guy has been imprisoned a number of times over the years for bank robbery. So at 81 years old, he figured he'd go rob another bank and wind up back in prison, right? So he is not the oldest bank. Now, you think at 81, I mean, a little old to be robbing banks, right? But the oldest bank robber on record was J.L. Hunter Red Roundtree, who has been dubbed America's oldest bank robber. He was convicted of robberies at banks during the late 90s and early 2000s in Mississippi, Florida, and Texas. And old Mr. Roundtree, who died in prison at the age of 92, robbed his last two banks when he was 91 years old. So you have a 91-year-old bank robber Which kind of reminds, when I lived in Fresno, there was a story on the front page of the Fresno Bee. This guy drove up to a drive-up window at a bank, displayed a knife, and said, "Give me all your money." He was in a car. It was a drive-up window. It's a bulletproof window, like 5 inches thick. And the teller gave him the money. And I don't remember how the rest of the story went, but I remember reading the front page of the Fresno Bee saying, how do you drive up to a drive-up window, display a knife, and rob a bank? Maybe he was tired. Maybe he couldn't find a parking space. I don't know. Okay, that's it. I'll see you tomorrow at 8:05. Bye.